Life coaching primarily started out as a personal development kind of thing. And you saw it a lot in businesses who wanted to increase sales. And in those days, life coaching really focused on goal setting and what you needed to do on a consistent basis to produce better, to sell more. As time went on, I think life coaching began to evolve, and uh, coaches realized that the more you focused on your thoughts, the better the outward production would become. So the key then became thoughts create emotion, and emotion creates action, and action is what produces what happens in the outside world. The outside world being very different than the internal world, than the inside world. And again, the focus at that point is that we're all separate individuals operating in a physical world. We are physical and the world is physical. And by controlling the thoughts that we focus on, we would create better habits. If we created better habits, then we would naturally have better production. As time went on, now transformational coaching begins to make a debut, or what I call transformational coaching. And here's how I see the difference between the two. Whereas life coaching was an offshoot of personal development type of coaching, and it was geared towards goal setting. It was geared towards achieving something in what was called a physical world. Transformational coaching is not so much geared towards the production in a physical world. First of all, in a transformational coaching setting, we realize everything is a matter of mind. Everything is a product of mind. The world that we see is not actually the world that we think we see. The world that we experience throughout in life is all a product of mind. Everything that's happening to us is happening to us in our mind. And we're projecting that onto the screen of our mind and then reacting to that projection. And this is what we see as a world. The physical world is physical simply because we give it its physical characteristics, not because it is inherent in the world in itself. So transformational coaching looks to align more with the true self, more with the spiritual self. And as a result of that, naturally, it creates more of a harmonious condition in the mind, which naturally produces better results in what's called the physical world. Whether or not we consider this world to be an illusion or reality, I think the point remains that it is still a product of our mind. We can have 10 people see the exact same thing and all have a different take on what they're actually seeing. So does that tell us that the thing that they're looking at changes? No, it tells us that our perception of what we're looking at changes from person to person. And it changes based on what our beliefs are. And those beliefs, those unconscious programs that operate 24 hours a day, are influencing how we look at the world and the things that we want to see from the world. Science tells us that we take in 6 billion bits of information every moment, but we only process 2,000 bits. Well, that's a lot of information left on the table. So who gets to decide what 2,000 bits we take in? And what we find is those unconscious programs are the filters that information has to pass through. When you get into transformational coaching, you begin to understand and you begin to help people to understand that what's really happening is the mind itself is creating what information is projected outward and what information it chooses to perceive as coming from the outward world. So what are we saying in short? We're saying you create the world and you project that world onto the screen of your mind, and then you react to the world that you think you see.